Now, if you have a simple problem, we need to talk about troubleshooting now. If you have a problem with a particular input, this is what you need to think about. Signal path. You plug it in from the instrument or the mic, use an XLR cable, you go to the snake, you go from the snake to the Aviom converter, and from the Aviom converter into the board. From the board back into the main house speakers, into the EQs underneath the board, and then into the snake. Back out the snake, XLR cables from the snake to the subwoofer, and then from the subwoofer to a mid-high, and a mid-high to a mid-high. If you have no sound whatsoever coming out at all, you've got signals, the little LEDs flashing, the green LEDs flashing on the board, you know you have signal present to the board, make sure your speakers are on. It's okay if you turn your speakers on last. In fact, you need to. Don't turn on your board after you turn on your speakers. That's when you get that loud pop and you potentially damage something. Okay, if you have one signal that is not making it to the board, let's half split it. The snake is a good place to half split it. Take the mic cable, the XLR cable, from your source, plug it into another source, plug it into another channel on the snake. If you get a signal out of that channel after you go back to the board and adjust your gain and your faders, then you know that there's a bad channel on the snake. If you plug it into another channel and you still yet don't find anything, change out the XLR cables. If you have signal at that point, you know the XLR cable is bad. If that doesn't work, ask the band if in their Avioms they have a signal from that particular input, whether it be a mic or what instrument, whichever one we're working on. If they do, then that means your signal is making it from the stage all the way to the analog to digital converter, which sits over the top of the soundboard. It's the big blue 16 channel thing. From there, you need to make sure, take an XLR cable from the Aviom to the soundboard and make sure that everything is plugged in, nice, tight, and firm, and that you don't have a bad cable. You can swap it out and go from there. If you happen to find a bad mic cable, please take it out. Try to fix it. I'm looking at 3 or so sitting on the floorboard of my truck. Okay. One other possibility that I have not talked about, and this could change in the future, is that you have everything plugged in, you have signal coming to the board, everything's fine, but you still have no sound coming out. You do from the CD, but not from Vocal 2. Or any vocals for that matter. What's put on the vocals is a limiter / compressor. Or a digital signal processor is the correct term for the whole thing. It's a PreSonus, it's blue. Once again, it should be sitting on top of the Aviom digital converter. It's 8 channels versus the 16. What you can do is, if it's vocals you're having nothing coming out from, you can disconnect the corresponding subgroup insert cable. You're going to have to look on the back of the soundboard. If you disconnect it and you get sound out, you know that there's something wrong with the compressor. At least that channel. I'm not going to go into setup because, quite honestly, I don't know a whole butt ton about it. But at least you understand that inserted in there, it kind of takes the signal out, modifies it, and injects it back into the soundboard. If you have nothing coming out of the soundboard, you know you've got signal there, and everything else is working, disconnect the DSP. That should eliminate any problems you have there. What else? At that point, pretty much all you have to do is really be a fader jockey and mix it to something reasonable. Like I was